Hey y'all, out here at Steve Holcomb's Pro Auto Custom Interiors, and he's got another one finished up. And it's pretty cool because the guy that he did the work for is actually here to pick the car up to take it back to Kentucky, so we can see what his reaction is. But it's a 35 Chevy. It's a good looking car. Fellas, how are you?
Doing good, Scotty. How you doing?
I'm doing good, Steve. This other folks is Tony. Tony, how are you, brother?
Great.
Tell me a little bit about your hot rod.
Well, this is a 1935 Chevrolet. It's an all-steel car. It's a three-window coupe. I've had it about 13 years. And just finishing up the interior here at Steve Holcomb's Pro Auto.
Right.
And
now when you say it's an all-steel, that means it's an original 1935.
It's an original 1935, but there are other 1935 Chevys around, but a lot of them will have fiberglass fenders,
right,
or running boards, but this is all steel. The fenders, the running boards, everything on the car, the hood is all steel. It's got the original hood on it.
Cool. And you say you've had it for 13 years. You've been working on it for 13 years? Did you drive it around for a little while?
I drive it all the time, or I've been driving it up until it went into restoration about a year and a half ago. But I guess like most custom cars or antique cars, you're really never finished with it. You know, you're always doing something to it. But I put probably maybe 20,000 on this car in the 13 years that I've
so you've been out tooling it around?
Oh yeah, drive it all over.
Yeah.
Had a lot of fun in this car.
Now, had you always wanted a 35 Chevy? What possessed you to do this one here?
Well, that's a great question. You know, I looked at a number of different street rods, and I went to the Street Rod Nationals in Louisville back in 1998, and I wasn't really sure what I wanted outside that I knew I wanted a GM car and probably a Chevrolet. And so I started looking at various years and 3 windows, 5 windows, and when I saw the 35 and the 34, they're very close. That was the body style that I knew I wanted.
Right. Cool.
This car's been chopped about 2.5 inches, and that was done about 15 years before I bought the car. Unfortunately, the gentleman that did the body work and put it together the first time has passed away, and I really didn't get a chance to get any photos from him to find out about some more details. So it'll be nice now. I'm putting together a complete rendition of the restoration as well as the interior and all that.
What do you think of the interior?
Oh, it's wonderful. It's awesome.
Right.
I mean, I knew it was going to be great, but until I had actually seen the photos last night and then the car today, I mean, it's totally awesome, unbelievable. I mean,
yeah, I shoot videos of a lot of the stuff that Steve does, and on video it looks good, but in person it's just mind-blowing, isn't it?
Oh, it is absolutely mind-blowing.
How'd you come across Steve?
Several of my friends had cars that Steve had done interiors on, and then I went to the Good Guys show about a year and a half ago in Charlotte, and saw several cars there that he'd done. Saw photos of cars on the internet, and so I decided to stop by and see him on my way to Chattanooga, where the restoration was done. And first of all, he and his whole staff were very nice people, very professional. And that really sewed it up to me, just knowing how nice a guy, as well as the quality of work.
Right. Yeah, you could tell from talking to him he was going to do as good a job as anybody.
Absolutely.
You could trust your car here.
Absolutely.
It'd be safe and all that.
He doesn't boast. He doesn't
Right.
brag. I mean, his product does all the boasting and bragging for him, and he's just got a first-class interior. You know, and since I committed to Steve to do my car, I've talked to a number of folks at various shows. And when you mention that you're going to have Steve Holcomb do your interior and his staff, I mean, people just...
They can't wait to see it, can they?
They know exactly it's going to be a first-class interior, and they can't wait to see it. Is correct.
Now, you're in kind of a hurry to get the car done. It's going to be at a show here in another week or so.
Actually, that's correct. Next Wednesday, I'm trading this car up to Indianapolis to the Hot Rod Restoration Show. I think this is the 5th annual, I believe, but this will be the first year they're going to be holding it at Lucas Stadium in Indianapolis. And they have selected 50 cars to have on display. And this really is more about, as the name implies, restoration. So it's really not open to the public per se. It's open to vendors and companies that do restoration work, as well as vendors that supply parts and accessories for that. So Dixie Dream Rods is the is the company that did the restoration for me in Ringgold, Georgia, just outside of Chattanooga. And when I was at the show last year, I mentioned that they might want to consider possibly submitting an application, and they did, and they were selected to attend, and they entered my car as a candidate, and it was selected to be on display next week.
Cool. So 1 out of 50.
1 out of 50.
Wow.
That's my understanding. Yes,
let's
sir.
take a look around this thing. I had told Steve, and they were giving me a hard time when I came out here, folks. I told Steve I didn't know how this red on red was going to look, but I got to tell you, that's beautiful, man. Yeah. Yeah. I did. You know me. I'll come out here and tell you if I don't like something. Or I don't think I'm going to. I've never been. Is that carbon fiber in those door handles?
Yes.
That is cool.
Yes.
Yeah, that is very cool.
This has got a 1935 Chevy dash. It's been modified. We actually added, I think, about 1.5 inches to that dash, cut it down the center and made it bigger. And I really like these Dakota Digital VHX analog gauges.
Right.
So in order to incorporate those in my dash, we had to actually make the dash a little larger. And that worked out real well.
Now tell me about that rear view mirror.
That rearview mirror is very unique. I'd seen one, and a friend of mine had one about 10 or 15 years ago, and I had looked and looked and never could find one. And again, when I was at the Good Guys in Charlotte, I ran across a guy that had one. And this mirror will display the gear selections, park, reverse, neutral, drive, etc., as well as the turn signals, as well as the high beam, a headlight beam.
Wow.
In the face of the mirror, as well as, of course, reflecting to be able to see out the back, which is pretty cool.
That is really cool. When I first saw it, I wondered if it wasn't hooked up to a backup camera.
Oh yeah, that.
It almost looks like a screen. Yeah, it looks like a screen. Wow, that is cool.
Yeah.
And then you put an LED in the interior. Like I like those LEDs. They seem to give a real warm, kind of a pleasant light.
They don't draw much current.
Right.
They're very cool. This has the Dakota Digital gauges, as I mentioned, and Vintage Air climate control, which is a digital climate control.
Right on. You don't see that very often.
No, that's pretty unique. They just come out with that recently, and this has, of course, Vintage Air Gen 2 air conditioning and heating, which is their latest all-electric control, and it works great. Boyd Coddington wheels.
Right.
Personally talked to Boyd about my car and what wheel to put on it, or what size of wheel to put on it, and ordered those a number of years ago from Boyd.
Nice.
All my chrome work was done by S&H Chrome in Nashville. Very nice people, do excellent work.
Cool.
Yeah.
So you just kind of subcontracted the deal.
Right. Dixie Dream Rod is a nice facility. Very nice people. Very highly skilled. They let me be very much a part of the restoration and actively pursued what accessories I was looking for, and I was involved on the day-to-day operation of getting the car put together.
What are all these switches for?
Well, the switch is back behind there. We have a switch for the headlights, for the trunk up and down, for the trunk light. There's a manual control for the electric fan, and also a cigarette lighter hookup for charging your cell phone, etc.
Right. And what's this little screen over here on the side do for us?
That's actually an outside air temperature.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, I really enjoy looking at temperatures.
Yeah, you know what? I got an 08 Mustang, and believe it or not, it doesn't have that. And I wish it did. I don't know what. I mean, all these new cars have thermometers in them, and mine doesn't.
It's a Dakota Digital accessory.
Cool. What motor are you running in it?
This is a General Motors ZZ4 crate motor with Corvette fuel injection off about a 1988 Corvette. It was chromed and tuned by Street Performance in Mena, Arkansas, Mark Campbell and his folks. It runs great. It's about 400 horsepower. Runs really strong, lots of torque.
It looks like it's got the old Corvette valve covers on it.
Actually, those are brand new, but they are built by, I think it's PML Industries. I saw those out at the SEMA show this year.
Right.
And they do replicate the old Corvette 60s valve covers.
Right. It looks good.
Actually new with the center bolt.
Yeah, I like those. And there's the actual tag that came on the car, I guess.
Actually, it's actually a replica, but it's very authentic.
Right. Is that the right car number and all, I'm guessing?
Yes, sir.
Yeah.
Yes, sir. Had the frame powder coated, the valve covers are powder coated. Autocycle powder coating in Chattanooga did that for me. They're really nice people.
So now you got it all done, you're going to show it and drive it.
Absolutely. Yeah, I got to get some new tires on it before the show next week, and a few details, and it'll be ready to go.
Right. And those seats look like they might be out of a Corvette.
That's correct. They're out of the in the mid-'80s Corvette. Very comfortable. I thought they looked good in the car.
So I guess now your ZR1's going to get a break, right?
Well, maybe a little bit, but we're still going to keep it busy too.
You like driving that?
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
This is actually PPG torch red paint. I really like that color. This really
It's cool.
stands
It's
out.
a red. It says not orangish red, it's red. I like that too.
It's got a lot of color to it.
Well, brother, I appreciate you showing me your car. It is beautiful. Anything else you want us to know before we run?
It's got actually the Willwood brakes. They just come out with. They've had disc brakes on the back for a while for the Ford 9-inch rear end, but they just recently come out with a. I think it's called the D52, which is a direct bolt-on for the old GM calipers, like off the Camaro for the fronts.
Right.
So those are direct bolt-in. I got one of the first sets out, and I'm really happy with them. Brake balance seems to be really good for the amount of miles.
How does it handle? Yeah, I mean, all the suspension's upgraded underneath it, right?
Yes, new springs, new coilovers. It's got Ride Tech coilovers on the front. They're adjustable. They're really good. I've put about 65 miles on the car so far, just testing it out.
Well, man, I'll tell you what. I can't tell you how much I appreciate you letting me come out and shoot it.
Oh, my pleasure.
Yeah, not a problem. Tony, thanks so much.
Thank you. Have a good day.
See ya.
See ya.
Folks, there you go. Tony's 35 Chevy from Steve Holcomb Pro Auto Custom Interiors. Hope y'all enjoyed it. See ya.